saw in a board and I'll cut it. I'll climb up a ladder with a hammer and a nail and I'll nail it. Well, we worked so hard to build a little house together. In the snow or the rain or the ice cold wind, whenever. No matter what the weather.
Welcome back. To the channel. It's been a while since we've done our last video. I've had a lot of things change in life here recently that have taken a significant amount of my time, effort, and attention. We're going to try to get back to making the videos. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to them every single week on the dot. It'd be nice if I could, but I'm not promising that at that point. I'm going to just create these as I have the time and have the attention to dedicate to it, and try to give you guys some pretty decent content from here forward. So today we're going to have something pretty cool. It's a, shocker, another 2011. This one's from Phoenix Trinity. It's more of a duty-rated commander style 2011. Has a built-in compensator in the barrel, and they're all handmade, hand-fit 2011. First and foremost, I want to apologize again about the audio. The receiver for the other mics died out, so that'll have to be resolved yet again. So upcoming videos, better audio, and we're just gonna buy once, cry once, and be done with it this time, because this has been a dilemma in the past. So today we have something pretty neat. Plug to my buddy Cody and all of his followers. Not the plug for my little channel. All of my loyal subscribers, all 130 of them, matter to this channel. But that being said, nice. Phoenix Trinity H-Duty. It is a commander style 2011 pistol. Phoenix Trinity is a company based out of Florida, founded in 2011, oddly enough. and they make really high-end 1911, 2011 parts. They're probably best known for their Evo grip modules. So the H-Duty is a high-end, hand-fit 2011 to contend with the likes of, and I say this from my own perspective, they don't necessarily say this, but it looks a lot like a Nighthawk Sandhawk or a Staccato XC. It has a built-in compensator into the barrel. The compensator does not reciprocate with the slide. It is actually a solid milled piece all the way throughout the barrel. And there's a few pretty neat parts about this pistol that I actually do like, and there's some mixed reviews. The hard thing to swallow about this pistol is the price point. And that price point comes in at just shy of $5,000. I think they're $48.99 for the base pistol. That comes with a standard plastic grip module from my understanding. This one has their Evo stainless steel grip module, which is another $875 on top of it. So by the time you throw a grip module in this thing, an optic, and a light on it, I mean, you're gonna be in the neighborhood of close to $7,000 into a pistol. So I'm gonna come at it fairly aggressively because anything that costs up in that price range needs to be come at fairly aggressively, because you are paying a lot of money and you better be getting a lot for your money. Because when the payday loan guys repossess this pistol from me, they better at least get something nice for the money that they loan me on my payday loan or the title to my 97 Corolla. So we'll start at the end of the barrel and work our way back. The end of the barrel, like we had previously mentioned, is the built-in compensator. I'll pull this apart here in just a second and we'll kind of go through the pistol. But the built-in compensator into the barrel, this is all one machine piece with the barrel. It doesn't thread on there, it doesn't index on there. The whole barrel actually slides out the front of the pistol, or the front of the slide when you disassemble it, and it's one solid piece. I really like the compensator. The feeling that this gives a shooter is really solid. Phoenix Trinity makes some pistols that have all the fancy slide cuts, and for me personally, I'm not super hip on that. I got the H-Duty because I like how simple and robust it looks. It's just a very clean, classy looking pistol. It's got the tan Cerakote. So my first gripe isn't necessarily going to be a gripe for me personally, but it may be for some people. A pistol in this price range, this one does come Cerakoted, and the Cerakoting has held up phenomenally well on this thing. I have shot somewhere in the range of 4,000 to 5,000 rounds through it, and it's held up kind of disappointingly good. I like a gun that looks worn when you've used it a large amount and shows that you've actually shot the pistol, not just taking some Scotch-Brite and rub the coating off to make it look like you actually operate, but when someone actually shoots a pistol, you can see that there's a lot of use on the wear and tear on the items, and I kind of like that look. Cerakote's held up phenomenally well. On the mag release and the mag well and the safety, you can see quite a bit of wear on that, if this will focus on it. A lot of that coating has come off on the black coating that's on those parts, but on the slide, on the frame, and on the side of the slide and frame where you holster in and out all the time, it's held up incredibly well. Now, there's a lot of pistols in this price range that offer different types of coatings, like DLC or some anodizing, or there's some other things that I probably can't even pronounce the name of correctly that some companies use that look really cool. I have no problem with Cerakoting, and this one is a really good Cerakote job. My other gripe for the base price of the pistol at just shy of $5,000 is that it comes with to my knowledge, a plastic grip module. And I just don't like the feel of those in my hands. When I'm shooting a 2011, I like the feel of a metal grip module, be it either aluminum or be it stainless. The stainless grip module in this one, which is the pricier option, does balance this pistol out incredibly well. The feeling that I've experienced in other 2011s, such as the XC that I've talked about in a previous video, when the slide comes back and then comes forward, I notice a little bit of a dip almost. And this one really just stays dead flat the entire time I'm shooting it. Played around a lot with spring weights and recoil spring weights in this pistol, and I've gone down as low as 6 pounds and shooting some of Badlands Munitions jello shots. This thing is butter. This is a incredible shooting pistol. The problem when you go that low on a recoil spring on one of these pistols with whatever ammunition you're shooting is after this thing is not clean, after roughly 300 to 500 rounds in a day, it starts to get gummed up enough. It doesn't like to strip around off of a full magazine and fully close. There's probably a couple clips in the intro where you'll see me slap the back of it. That's after I'm starting to get up in the round count of the day. It's gumming up, and that's circumvented with a higher weight spring, recoil spring. You have no issues with it after that, but if you're really trying to pinch every ounce of performance out of this pistol, I ended up really liking running an 9-pound spring. That seemed like to be a pretty good medium between felt recoil and reliability. I ran all the way up to a 13 in increments and all the way down to a 6. 6 was unbelievably pleasant to shoot, but it just wasn't reliable once it started getting gummed up, and that's just the nature of the beast. So there's a trade-off to everything that you do. The machining on this is honestly of autistic levels. The fit and the finish is what you would expect for what you're paying for this thing. All the lines are very nice and evenly matched. There's no weird gaps, there's no uneven gaps. This thing is it's just done right, and it's fit very well. The feel of the slide on the frame back and forth it's like it sits on ball bearings. This thing really does feel very nice when you're playing with it, or that's translated into the shooter. There's a cool few things that they do inside the internals of this pistol, and I'll pull it apart here really quick. When I was taking this apart is what they call their Linkless barrel system, and it's actually just a piece that slides in right here into the barrel, pinches down, and your pin goes through that hole. You'll slide that right back onto the pistol just like that. And that is a little bit different than pretty much any other 2011 manufacturer out on the market. They all use linked barrels, and I'm not an expert on the pros and the cons, although I will say that it feels very nice, and there is a slight difference in the feeling of the recoil and the feeling of the action of this pistol compared to the other 2011s. Like we're talking about the barrel coming straight out the front, it just comes straight out the front of the barrel, of the slide, just like that. And it goes back together just as easy. You slide your guide rod right back in. And pinch it right back together. I have to find my pin. Slap your pin in. The pistol goes right back together. It's very easy to assemble, very easy to work on. It's a really neat, easy system. Now, I have seen a few cases on the internet of that linkless barrel system bar actually splitting. And I'll plug some pictures of that into the video here. And what Phoenix Trinity recommends for this pistol is to actually disassemble and grease that part, not lubricate that part. Now, I've not followed the manufacturer recommendations, and I've just lubricated it with standard gun lube like I would any other pistol, and I've had absolutely no issues with it. Supposedly that the grease adds a little bit less reduces a little bit of the friction on that bar and keeps that from cracking over time. I've not experienced any of that cracking issue at all, and it doesn't look like there's any stress on it either. I think I've seen 2 instances from reading and researching on this pistol of that happening, and that's the only thing that I've found on it. When we move to the trigger is one thing that I normally like to play around on 2011s. This trigger right out the gate feels fantastic. It's a 2.5 pound single stage with a very definitive wall, very little take up, and a super clean break. The reset is very, very minimal, and you're right back on the wall again. So it's a very easy pistol to shoot quickly and to shoot accurately. This pistol is a earlier serial number, so you'll notice that it does not have an ambidextrous safety, and in addition it had an old style magwell that does not work with all 2011 mags. Now, rather than waiting for the correct magwell, I was an idiot and just machined out the old one with a Dremel in order to fit my mags. The optics plate that came on this pistol as well had the front sight post rather than the rear sight posts. There's a good and a bad to that, right? So you can run a standard Trijicon RMR on it, or any of those types of closed or open dot emitters, but I really like running the Trijicon RMR HD. The HD sticks out a little bit further. Those front sight posts get in the way. So you could run the optics plate with the sights in the rear, and that would just push your optic a little bit forward. If you look at the slow-mo, it looks like the brass is kind of getting close to it. I don't know if that would necessarily cause an issue with that HD being pushed a little bit further. I know that some guys have ran into issues with that on like the staccato. I didn't when I ran it that way, but that's something to maybe be aware of. My solution was just taking it to the bench grinder and clearancing the front sights to make the RMR HD fit on this optics plate, and it also kept it quite a bit further back, and it worked just fine. One thing that happens on pretty much every 2011 I've shot with a little fiber optic in the front of, for your front sight post, it walked out, just like every one I have. I don't know if it's something that I'm necessarily doing wrong, or if I need to glue those in, or what I need to do differently, but every single 2011 I've had, those little fiber sights on the front seem to walk out, and I don't know if I just get them too hot or what happens, but that's just something that I've come to accept. When I get one with a fiber front sight post, it's gonna be in the dirt somewhere at some point during my first heavy range day.
And Kratos cast himself from the highest mountain in all.
That just seems to be what it is. Some things some people have said online is that Phoenix Trinity can kind of be sometimes a pain to deal with in customer support. And I don't want to dog them in any sense of the fashion, because there's good stories as well. I've not had to experience it all because the gun has ran flawless. In fact, they don't even know I exist. I purchased this pistol with my own money, and I've not contacted them for any RMA work or anything whatsoever, because it's just been a solid pistol from start to finish. This is one I'll probably keep for the foreseeable future, because I really do like this pistol that much. And I don't want to necessarily sound like I'm riding them too hard, because I said I was going to be hard on it, but it's a phenomenal pistol, even given the price. I think that if you were to spend your money on this one, you wouldn't find yourself disappointed in any way, because the shooting experience of this really is just solid. Everybody that I've handed this pistol to and hand them a mag, so give me your first impressions off of it. Typically they'll fire off the first round, stop, look at me and go, oh my gosh. And then they continue to mag dump that mag and want to shoot about 10 or 20 more mags worth out of it. And I can't necessarily blame them, because it really is a very flat, very comfortable shooting pistol. It's one that makes it fun again. Trying to be hard on this pistol, I can't find too many flaws to really rag on. The fact that, and I'm not sure about the newer pistols, but at least the early serial number ones came with a mag well that doesn't work with all 2011 pistols. That was a little bit of a hindrance or an inconvenience. Not the end of the world. You can always swap them out. It's easy to do. Not a big deal. We talked about the Cerakote. That's not a downgrade for me personally. I don't mind a Cerakote finish. Some people might expect a different type of coating for the money that they're spending, although there's a lot of pistols in this price range that still do come with a Cerakote. One neat little thing that I do like about it is on my pistols that have a grip safety, sometimes I don't like the feeling of it compressing every time. I've never had a problem with it keeping me from firing or functioning the way that I intend it to. But just that feeling of it in your hand compressing every time sometimes just doesn't jive with my certain planes and trains autism that I ended up with. And a lot of times I'll just take a little bit of tape and tape around it and keep that pressed in just because I like that feeling. This one doesn't have that at all from the get-go. It's just, there's a hair of movement in it, but it's not enough to bother me, and you can fire the trigger without having your hand on that grip safety. It's something that's just pinned in it, and I actually really, really like that about this pistol, this grip module. It's something I'm a big fan of. In terms of accuracy, this thing has no problem printing whatever you're capable of shooting. It can definitely outshoot me. You can hit IP6 at 100, no problem with it. And the thing that I find most impressive and the thing that's most pleasant to shoot about it, and this has been concurred to me with other people that I've let shoot this pistol, and people that have been around me and shot my other 2011s, especially like the Staccato XC and whatnot, where they'll look to bring the pistol back up a little bit to find the dot as that returns and goes a little bit lower, or it's just violent and you have to find the dot again. A lot of times the dot is exactly where you left it. I don't want to understate how flat and level that this pistol shoots. It really does shoot like it's on an XY axis and nothing more. It's very, very flat shooting. So in closing, as hard as I really wanted to be on it, I'm struggling to find things that I really want to critique about it, because even if I were given a blank check and wanted to build a pistol exactly the way that I would want, there's very few things that I'd want to change. From this early serial number 1 I bought off the used market, I would want an ambidextrous safety just because I like having an ambidextrous safety. I don't hardly ever use it. It hasn't bothered me or hindered me in any way, shape, or form. I'm a right-handed shooter. That being said, it's nice to have that ambi safety. Other than that, the earlier serial number, the early run pistols came with this mag well that either needs to be changed or modified. I believe that's fixed on the new ones. You can run whatever 2011 mags that you want in it. They tolerance and clearance themselves just fine within themselves. Those are really my main complaints, which is very minimal, especially given the price tag. I really enjoy shooting this pistol. It's big and chunky. It's not something you're gonna want to carry every day. This thing weighs a heap, especially with the stainless grip. That also translates into a very, very smooth shooting pistol. If I have to have a sidearm that you're gonna end up using, this would be a fantastic one to use, except for the fact you have to lug it around all the time. To finish it off, I don't think that if you do decide to purchase one of these that you'll be disappointed in any way, shape, or form, or anybody you hand it to that's griping you about what you spent on a pistol, they understand once they get their hands on it and they fire a few rounds. Like, oh, in my comparison, I feel like it's the difference between a Seiko Daytona and a Rolex Daytona. They're similar, they look the same, but one is just a very fine-tuned hand-fit mechanical masterpiece, while the other one is a mass-produced solid option. And obviously there's a huge price difference that comes with it. Is it worth the difference in price between the low end and the high end? That's for you to decide. For me personally, the enjoyment I get out of shooting this pistol, it is for me. I thoroughly like this pistol, and my gripes are very minimal, even given their price point. So we'll finish off with a little piece of life advice, because that's just something that I've seen a few other creators do, and it's something that I've really enjoyed listening to them do and applying it to my own life. And one that's hit home pretty hard lately for me is comparison is the thief of joy. And we'll elaborate on that a little bit. I look at myself and where I was 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or even 2 years ago, and in some cases I wouldn't even consider being an acquaintance or a friend with that person who I was that time ago. And a lot of days I get stuck in feeling like I'm not making the progress or accomplishing the goals that I feel like I need to be making. But then you take a step back and look at what you have accomplished and what goals you already have conquered and blown past, and take some time to be appreciative for what you've done. And if you look back 5 or 10 years and don't see any change in yourself, perhaps it's time to sit down and reevaluate. And if you have seen a change in yourself, on the contrary, be proud of that. Take some pride, not a bad sense of pride, but take some pride in that accomplishment and continue to build upon it. Consistency and discipline outwork anybody's work ethic any day of the week. As long as you set goals, stick to them, and put in effort every single day, you'll see a change over a period of your life, be it a short time frame or a long time frame. You're not going to see much in a short time frame, virtually anything. Instant gratification is a lie in most cases, and if it's instantly gratifying, it's probably wrong. And if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. Keep in mind and look back at who you were a time ago and what goals you had in that period of your life. And if you've checked some of those off and if you've made progress towards them, take solace in that and continue to build on them. Have a good day.